Now, there's a couple of directives, and we call them the prime directives of the unconscious mind. And it helps us put into notion the perspective of change. Now, change is an essential part of life. And change happens both at the conscious and the unconscious levels. At the conscious level, we think about what we want. We decide if it's possible to achieve our goal, and then we take action. And at the unconscious level, change happens in conjunction with the unconscious mind. And it's not a separate thing happening on its own. Now, when we make change happen at the unconscious level, it can actually be more powerful than if we were trying to do it consciously. And that's because our unconscious mind is constantly processing information from our senses. It's processing information from sight, from sound, from smell, from touch, from taste. And it gives us a lot of information about what's going on around us every single day. And when we make changes consciously by thinking about them, this process of processing information actually stops change from happening. Now, when you think about the unconscious mind, when we make changes unconsciously, they happen as a result of these processes continuing to run while we're not paying attention. Does that make sense? Has there ever been something that you've wanted? Maybe this is a good example. How many people do you know who are going for IVF? They can't fall pregnant. The women are trying really hard to get pregnant. The husbands are trying really hard to get the wife pregnant, and they're not falling pregnant. So they go for IVF. And they go for your IVF and they still can't get pregnant. And you know what happens one day? They wake up and they say, this is exhausting. This is so exhausting. It's costing us a ton of money. It's costing a ton of time. There's virtually no eggs left and all these injections are painful. And you know what happens? Husband and wife, they go away. They sit on the beach. They have a laugh. They reconnect. They're spontaneous. They have sex in the hotel room. And what happens? They're pregnant. Why? Because they stopped trying. Has something like this happened to you in your life? You want something, you want something, you want something, and you try, and it's like the harder you try, the more you push it away. And then what happens once you say, screw this, what happens? Virtually, it happens automatically. And this is the power of the unconscious mind. The more and harder you try to change, the further you push it away. When you allow the unconscious mind to do its job, the process will continue to run whilst you're not paying attention. And Ninny and I have worked with dozens of couples over the years who couldn't fall pregnant, and they came to my training and the women got pregnant. Now, I know what you might be thinking. You might have been thinking, I did something to these women. Well, I didn't. The husbands did it. You're allowed to laugh, ladies and gentlemen. Sophie, you're allowed to laugh. Arita, you're allowed to laugh. Sansan, you're allowed to laugh. You got to laugh at these things. They came. They got rid of their mental blockages. They went home. They stopped thinking about it. They stopped worrying about it. And so many of them write to us and say, Daniel, you wouldn't believe it. The IVF didn't work. We fell pregnant naturally. And it's all because they just released their intentions. Does this make sense? Has something like this happened to you before? Correct. All the time. So let's have a look at these prime directives. Please turn over to page number 7. Turn over to page number 7 of your training system. And these are the prime directives of the unconscious mind. And I'm going to go through these so you understand how your unconscious mind works. The more you know about your unconscious mind, the faster change takes place. So here we go. Your unconscious mind makes associations and learns quickly. The unconscious mind learns quickly, and it helps us protect ourselves from danger. The unconscious mind links things that are similar or different, and then we're able to access information rapidly. Your unconscious mind organizes all of your memories. Now, it does this by organizing them by the way of indexes, which are stored in your autonomic nervous system. These index are temporally indexed, so they go from past to present, and then they go from present to future. Now, your body organizes memories by the way of subjects. These subjects could include family, friends, colleagues, work, sport, food, travel, money, relationships with others, so on and so on. And this is done by looking at them through a Gestalt lens, which means they're organized into groups that make sense together. Number 4, the unconscious mind represses memories with unresolved negative emotions. Now, my opinion is we all have memories we would rather forget. Now, if you've had a traumatic experience, you've probably wondered why the event or memory can be so hard to get out of your head. You've had that before, haven't you? And it can also be hard to remember what happened or even why it happened. And when you're so emotionally attached to the memory, it feels like it's really hard to move on from it. Using timeline therapy, we can actually cut ourselves off from our emotions so we can learn to move forward. But what a lot of people do is they cut themselves off from their emotions because they don't know how to handle them. And that's called repression. Now, the good news is the unconscious mind actually represses memories for your own protection. Now, a repressed memory is just as real and important as any other memory. But the only difference is it just isn't accessible right now. Number 5, the unconscious mind presents repressed memories for resolution. The unconscious mind has memories, and these memories are often related to trauma and conflict. Now, the memories may present themselves in many different ways. The memories may come back visually, as a dream, as a flash, as a word, or maybe something that's a little bit symbolic, maybe like a black butterfly. Now, at the moment of the presentation, your conscious mind can take the learnings or lessons from the memory and resolve the emotions. And if you can do this at the time of the presentation of the memory, your emotions can be cleared and resolved. Number 6, the unconscious mind may keep repressed emotions repressed for our protection. Now, the unconscious mind has the option of keeping the memories repressed. And I want you to remember that repressed memories are not good for the body. Number 7, the unconscious mind runs the body. It's responsible for everything outside of consciousness. Now, based on all the learnings over the past 40 to 50 years, we've learned that you can actually communicate with yourself at a cellular level. And using timeline therapy techniques, we communicate with ourselves at a cellular level. Now, holding on to negative emotions for too long can actually cause disease within our bodies. Number 8, the unconscious mind preserves the body. It maintains the integrity of the body and preserves us. It keeps us physically and psychologically safe. It also comes up with complex behaviors for doing this. And we call this either self-preservation or self-sabotage. The unconscious mind also heals infection. It also heals damage on the body. Number 9. The unconscious mind is the domain of the emotions. Now, emotions may be experienced consciously, but are generated, maintained, and are the responsibility of the unconscious mind. Now, processing of emotions happens here, which is why when we try to use our conscious mind to clear a painful memory, that's why we often struggle. So these are the 9 most important prime directives of the unconscious mind. Now, the good news for you is change takes place automatically. I'm just giving you the ideas and the background why timeline therapy works the way it does. When we do timeline therapy tomorrow, all of this happens automatically. This is just giving your conscious and unconscious mind information on why it works. And when you just let this wash over you like a wave, then your mind will take it all on. And as we said before, you only have to touch fire once to realize it's hot. And the unconscious mind only needs to learn something once, and it'll actually remember it forever.